Okay, welcome everybody. This is so exciting. Our sponsor, Immunicology, actually runs a podcast studio in New York over Times Square. It's like between two ferns. It's called Symphony Studios, and we are here in a real professional setting. Thank you for not being on Zoom, everybody. Thank you so much. We are here for a very special episode talking about one of, I think, the topics and the trends that the founder of the Global Wellness Institute and Summit, Susie Ellis, is the most excited about. It's something she sort of happened upon working with our members in the Middle East, and that is the intersection of sports, hospitality, and wellness. And here's why it's such a big deal. Here's just a few numbers. According to Allied Market Research, the global sports tourism market size was valued at $323 billion in 2020, but it's projected to reach $1,803 billion. I don't know what even that number is by 2030, which means a 16% per year growth rate from 2021 to 2030. Sports tourism represents 10% of the world's tourism industry. And one of my favorite topics, athleisure. It is going to grow from $411 billion in 2021 to almost $800 billion by 2028. I will help that industry grow. But anyway, also sports gaming. I mean, I laugh. Every PS5 has players. You can, have your favorite team members. You're in control. But I love that movie that just came out about the kid who was a race car driver on video game, and he actually won a race, right? It was so fun with Orlando Bloom. All right, enough about that. What we're talking about is using sports as a business strategy in the hospitality world. And, let's face it, it's a divisive world. There's so much going on. But sports can really be a great unifier, transcending boundaries, languages, age, and cultural differences. And nobody knows that better than our special guest today, Patricia Ladis. Patricia is PTCBBA licensed physical therapist and the founder of Wise Body Physical Therapy. Patricia, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for living in New York. So
you
could be here in person.
Very convenient.
Now, we have a special guest that we'll get to later because she comes right from the thick of things on the front lines of the topic we're going to talk about. But right now, let's just tell the people, the last time we saw each other in person was in Tel Aviv, where you led us in a TikTok dance.
Yes, of course. My dance background comes into everything that I do.
And we cannot thank you enough. And then the next time on Zoom, I love you so much. Our friend Belgin Aksoy, the founder from Turkey, the founder of Global Wellness Day, has a theme every year. And this year it was dance.
Dance magenta.
Dance magenta. And I thought, we need a TikTok dance. We need a viral dance. Oh my God, who can help us? You and who did a video for us?
It was really fun.
It was you
really
and your
fun.
daughter.
Oh, yeah. Me and my daughter getting together and creating a movement that most anyone can do. And that's the whole thing, is dance is super accessible.
Yeah.
Moving your body, as we know, is one of the number one ways to stay well.
And it's joyful.
Much fun.
Dance is ancient.
Yeah.
And it's in our bones when we really try. Even if we're bad, we can laugh at ourselves, right? Okay, and now you can talk about my Global Wellness Day dance. It was pretty bad, but I had 3.
No, come on. It was great. And you were in this gorgeous lobby
of a hotel. I had 4 girlfriends. I'm like, stand up. We did 5 practices. Why do you make it look so easy? We laughed till we fell over. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and you'll never forget it. So it's memorable experiences.
So thank you for your dancing skill. But today we're going to talk about something else. There was recently the Global Wellness Institute and Summit put on a wellness masterclass that busted out at the seams. There were so many attendees from all over the world. Can you remember some of the people that were on it with you, Patricia?
Yeah, there was people from Syro Hotels. There was
in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Uh-huh.
There was people from Lake Nona, which is a wellness community
in Florida. There was Catherine Johnson.
Of course, Catherine with the research on movement and sport.
And then there's an Andy Priest from a UK developer that puts recovery in their plans and their spas and fitness.
It's all about, really supporting athletes and helping with the sports sector.
Right. So what are some of your favorite takeaways or most memorable takeaways from that conversation?
Well, I love that this conversation is happening to begin with, because the intersection of sports and wellness can only produce better sporting events, better athletes, and keep people connected through sport. And what we don't recognize sometimes in the wellness arena, we talk about, okay, I want to go to my yoga class, I want to get a treatment, I want to go for these wellness walks, which is amazing, hiking. But a lot of people love their sport and they want to be good at it. And so there are so many people that want and are looking for these experiences, getting out in nature, doing their sport, meeting new people, and potentially competing themselves.
Okay, and let's stop talking about me and my pickleball craze. No, I mean, it's a big thing.
Yes.
Susie had a lot of stats. There's articles in Wall Street Journal, New York Times. It's the fastest growing sport in America.
100%.
And they make fun of it because it's supposed to be for boomers. But young people are getting into it.
Everybody is.
But what I notice, Patricia, that's one example of community, of joy, of getting together. It's a Blue Zones kind of thing.
It is.
Right?
Very much so. 36.5 million people played pickleball globally in 1 year.
In 1
and
year.
at least once.
But when you
when you look at the average in the U.S., 8.9 million people play pickleball. And it keeps growing. And so there are definitely injuries. So they're in my office as a physical therapist. But what happens is it's very accessible. You may not be able to play on a big tennis court. Now you've got a miniature pickleball court. You can have some fun with your friends. It's really engaging. You're playing with multiple people. You're having fun out there.
Oh my gosh.
So you're now seeing around the city just places that had just maybe some grass and some things and were underutilized, that they're now installing pickleball courts, and now they're busy and bustling. People getting together.
And what I will tell you is, I don't know if you can believe this, but I am over 40. And a lot of people think, well, you can't do sports. Well, you can do
Yes, you
pickleball.
can.
But let's talk about bringing the wellness in, Patricia. If you had to give somebody tips, the weekend warriors, they sit at their desk and then all of a sudden they get out for the 1 hour of pickleball and blow a knee. So what would be your advice to someone?
So even though, we have a lot of times, if you're doing this in community and not at a destination, right, you're trying to fit it in to your day-to-day life. And it's very important that you properly warm up and do a dynamic warm-up. And I'm not talking, okay, let me just hang in a stretch. You actually have to get your blood going. You have to get your blood circulating. You got to do a little bit of jogging in place, maybe some jumping jacks, maybe a couple of jumps if that's okay. Rotating your body.
Are you guys listening?
So pickleball, tennis is a rotating racket sport. So you need to actually work on rotation. You can't just get out there and you've been at your desk all week and now you're going to play pickleball with your friends and expect your body to just miraculously go into these angles. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
So it's really important to have a really good dynamic warm-up. That includes rotation, warming up the feet, warming up the calves, warming up the knees, warming up the hips, getting the spine to rotate, and getting your head back. And then you play. And then at the end, you don't just go grab a beer. You actually stretch. And if something's not feeling so good, you can roll. You could do self-massage. You could do release techniques. And then it'll actually keep you playing better and for longer and without injuries. I've been doing injury prevention screens my whole entire career.
I mean,
and
nobody
it's really
thinks
important.
Of it. Nobody thinks of it. I will tell you, I try to do a 15-minute yoga stretch before my class, but now you're telling me to do jumping jacks and jog. Okay, fine, I will do it. Another thing I want to ask is, what do you think? Why do you think the time is right now? That's just one sport, but we just read about so many properties.
Yeah.
The one I love so much is a Marriott in Miami that put a regulation-sized basketball court in their hotel. And they're getting so much revenue. They can do special events. You can do a bar mitzvah. You can do a boys' night, a girls' night, whatever. You can carpet it over for an inside event. Or they're even renting the space for commercial shoots, like for Nike shoes or whatever, right?
Sure.
So why do you think the time is right now to blend wellness with sports and hospitality?
I think what we missed with, and I hate to bring COVID up, but I think we were all in silos. We were all mostly indoors. A lot of these places, even public parks, were caution
Shut.
tape.
Yeah.
And so people are really recognizing how important it is to get out in nature, how important it is to do a variety of movements. It's not just about, getting outside, going to the gym, and doing that indoors. You can do that anywhere. You can do that in your basement. You could do that in your home. You could do that at the gym of your building. You can do that at the gym of the spa you're going to. But what makes it unique? I want an experience. I want to bring my friends and go somewhere and do something together because we missed out on 2 to 3 years of having that connection. And sport does it like nothing else. Everybody gets excited about it. You can have some fun. You can make fun of each other. You can, get a really great workout in, and you have a variety of movement. So from my perspective, it actually increases potentially your longevity. So tennis, the sport that I focus on with all my athletes, is a longevity sport. You can play it until your dying day because you can do it in various ways, right? You don't have to be
in competition.
You don't have to be a competitive professional athlete, but you can have some fun, hitting some balls, running around the court, getting a great workout in, getting a variety of movement. We don't want to be sitting down cycling when we've been sitting all day at a computer. That doesn't make any sense. You haven't moved your hips, you haven't moved your legs, you haven't moved anything. So you can actually get a more varied movement in your body that then increases endorphins, increases mental health, increases community connectedness, and being in nature, you have that added benefit. That's a big part. We see, like for example, Body Holiday, Andrew's wonderful centers in St. Lucia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
People come year after year because they go outside of their normal environment and can have these unique experiences, swimming in an actual ocean and competing with each other and learning from professional athletes on how to run better, how to swing the ball better, how to swim better. You kind of want those bragging rights. So you want to do well on the court. You don't want to be the guy that always loses, right, to your friend. So people are actually seeking experiences and opportunities to get better at their sport.
I will not talk about pickleball after this, but there are pickleball retreats.
Yeah.
We have pickleball parties where we give awards to most improved player. I mean, it's all a big excuse.
Yep.
Now, the other thing I read...
Same thing with tennis, same thing with golf, yeah.
Oh, golf too,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Exactly. A lot of people live on golf courses so they can play all the time. But, social media has changed everything, as we well know. And then we see that people are hearing from sports stars their habits, like what they want to eat, how they work out, and thinking, wait, Lionel Messi, the superstar from what country is he? Argentina, is he? He's playing for Miami, that I know because my husband's Cuban. He's from Miami, watches every game, has 559 million social media followers.
Yeah.
Neymar, who I don't know who that is, has 369 million. Oh, maybe that's the Indian cricket superstar.
Yes.
Has 250 million, Virat Kohli. So all these eyeballs are seeing a healthier lifestyle.
That's right.
Style. Tom Brady, right? He said, no, I don't eat this. I do that. I do. And so they're thinking, how can I learn that?
I talk about that as being the aspiring athlete. So this is a person that's living their life that's like, wow, look at this person at the top of their game. If I can do even a quarter of what that person does, and it is a actual sneak peek into a summary, a Cliff Notes version of the key things and key elements that you want to put in, because you can be really overwhelmed with the way that social media is today. Tomorrow they're telling you to have green juice. The next day they're telling you not to.
Right.
You eat eggs, don't eat eggs, have protein, have carbs. You can get really confused. But when you hear, you know what, this is what worked for me. And this is an athlete that has so much success in their field and has to be at their pristine level so that they can keep playing at that high level into their years, right? Because as we know, professional athletes can only stay professional athletes for only a certain amount of years. So what we're looking for is how these wellness practices can actually provide a support for athletes. So that's one sector of this intersection of sports, wellness, and hospitality. So more athletes around that need more support. Now, when you get to the pro level, you might have your own entourage. But there are people that are climbing their way up and don't have that, but would go to a facility that can teach them a few of those things. Then there's the junior athletes that are traveling. They're going all over town. They have zero support unless their parents are helping them with some sort of outside, services, but they want to learn Also, they want to experience these things. They may not have the money, let's say, to do it on a day-to-day basis or to have a sauna or a cold plunge in their house. And when they go to these tournaments on that level, collegiate, junior, going pro on that pro track, they don't have that support.
Right.
So they want to be able to experience it. So why not have a property that could offer them all of those things?
Well, let me just give you an example before we introduce our special guest. My husband and I were invited to the Four Seasons Westlake, and years ago it was open with a real, Pritikin Center, you might say, the next generation. And now that's over, and it's a new program where you're going to go. It's called a wellness retreat, and this is the kind of thing that we learned together as husband and wife. We had a body composition analysis, lectures on metabolism. What is it called? VO2 target
VO2
heart
max.
rate. Yep. Blood test submission, questionnaire before we got through, nutrition consultation, circuit training, body composition analysis, a life balance workshop. My husband tried yoga for the first time. He is so inspired because he started his own Plant Forward program about a year ago, lost 30 pounds. The nutritionist looked at him and said, I want to congratulate you. You have changed the trajectory of your life. He'll never forget that. It's a pivotal moment.
Absolutely.
So how else can you see that happening with hospitality? What can they reach out and do to say to people, come here, you can learn this?
Well, if we look at these, to piggyback on the last comment about professional athletes, everybody's got a little bit of a secret sauce, right? So you have to experience all of those things in a setting to be able to get anywhere with it, right? So if you are an aspiring athlete, someone that wants to change and transform their life, you have to get into the individuality of it. So that is an amazing program that you just spoke about, because everyone needs different things. What worked for Tom Brady may not work for Federer.
Right.
So everybody's got a different body type, different body composition, a lot of different things can work for different people. So I think it's a smorgasbord of available testing is number one, so that you can get a sense of what is that person's body composition. What did that person do their whole life? Did they pick up basketball every weekend? Did they play soccer intensely in college? What did they do? And then you have to look at, how much sauna should you do? What nutrition is right for you? What are your macronutrients, micronutrients that you might be missing in your diet that you have to think about? What should you do after you play your sport, like recovery? Should you go into the cold plunge? Should you, do the compression, on your legs or your arms or wherever? Should you get a massage, acupuncture? Should you do some cupping or stretching and know how to do the right things for you? Do you see any red flags? Like, does your hip not move in a certain direction that you really shouldn't pick up that pickleball game? Right? There are things that we can do in that type of a wellness setting with the right practitioners to actually prevent injury, to keep people moving longer.
Let me tell you something. A lot of resorts are stepping up to the plate. Now this is university in the UK. It opened the Elite Athlete Center, sports-centric, fitness-focused hotel that offers 20 high-altitude rooms. What else? What's going on here?
To train for skiing and
mountain climbing.
And mountain climbing.
And then, this is so crazy, fitness studios, 50-meter swimming pool, nutrition-approved meals. But I found this, Sports Illustrated Resorts.
Yes.
Now this,
Yes.
I think it's Punta Cana or something.
Yeah.
Inspired by collegiate sporting events that draw hundreds of thousands of fans to games each year, hotels relocated on or near university campuses and reflect the school's heritage and pay tribute to players, coaches, and fans. So
that's more of like the person who is a diehard fan of the sport, is a spectator, may not want to, let's say, participate in a lot of that sport, but wants to be totally immersed in the experience of that sport, know the history of it, get that fandom going, and maybe they do want to pick up a game, with the people that are there or people of their age group or friends that might be coming with them. And so these are amazing offerings to keep people in the game and to keep them playing with peers where they don't feel like oh, I've kind of lost it now. I'm, in my 60s.
Challenging.
But challenging. And being able to do it at their level, at the pace that they like, but keep them moving. And in an environment that makes them feel at home, because maybe watching that is the highlight, right?
Oh
Is
my
something that they really, it's almost like a hobby. It's something they aspire to do. They want to be part of it. They want to give back maybe to their college, right? I think about all of, my husband's college fans that want to go back to BC and just tailgate and do what they used to do in college. And of course they would pick up a game, if it was available to them. So these are wonderful ways for people to reconnect with the sport on deeper and deeper levels.
Well, there's other hotels. The Carillon Miami, our dear friend
Yes.
Tammy Pale, she's also sponsored this podcast. But they work with the BioStation, and they do amazing things like biomarker diagnostic testing. They do lipotropic injections, IV nutrient therapy treatments, but they also have the Miami Heat, I think it is, that comes and gets recovery treatments in her spa. She's no dummy. It's a huge spa. I think it's 50,000 square feet. So you might as well use it. Now, we must talk about, getting spectators off their little tookuses and not just watching, but actually doing.
Yeah.
So what are some ways you see that happening?
Well, a lot of people, like let's say you like golf or tennis. You can go to a club. Let's just talk about the club setting right now and get a simulated situation where you have sensors on you and you can compare your golf swing, let's say, to Tiger's golf swing or your favorite athlete's, stroke, right? There's labs all over the world where you can go in and get certain analyses done on your movements and things. And that sometimes inspires people to want to get better. They want to do more. So that's a kind of cool little thing that some people are offering, but it's not really seen as much in a spa setting, but that could be a very cool addition, because then once you realize, okay, your hip isn't moving well enough, your shoulder isn't moving well enough, we can actually do something to help you with that. Let's do some massage. Let's do some cupping. Let's do some acupuncture. Let's do some exercises. Let's do some specific exercises. And also, let's do them on our equipment, which happens to be a little bit better than maybe the equipment you have at home.
Or your
so
gym.
you can actually feel what good equipment feels like. What should a run on a treadmill feel like? What should a run outdoors on the right surface feel like? What do I have to work on when I go home? I know that a lot of statistics are if you experience something at a wellness destination that can make that you can take home, you've learned something. If I learn something, I am going to take it home. I'm going to use it. That's going to impact my own wellness. I'm going to want to come back and get more.
Let me tell you something. It just happened. At that Four Seasons Westlake, there was a couple. My husband never did yoga. Neither did the husband of this couple. They owned major travel agencies. They went around the world. And he got out there like a trooper. And we had a lecture on obesity, the epidemic around the world.
Sure.
And it was so sobering. Everyone there was like, what? And the nutritionist was talking. I heard the wife calling her grown daughter and saying, honey, no soda. We can never have soda again. And I thought, well, that's kind of a basic, but if
Bam.
people don't know it,
Bam.
it's a beautiful thing. Okay, another point is I was talking to Kathy Chon, the co-chair
Yes.
of this year's summit. She's a major hotel PR marketing person in Asia. And she said, Kim, in tourism, she said, who could have thought a few decades ago that you'd think that you'd have needles at a resort? Like IV infusions or biometric testing. But why do you think now people would accept that?
Okay, so sadly, we have a medical system that does really well with trauma medicine, with acute injury, with, really basic needs and help. But a lot of people are suffering from chronic symptoms, maybe chronic immune disorders, IBS, headaches, mental health issues, everything that runs the gamut. And Western medicine type of like generic medicine that's out there that's covered by insurance is usually not able to even come close to addressing those types of symptoms. That's where the boom of functional medicine has come in, and a lot of different other integrative medicine and lifestyle medicine, because we've realized that unless you change your lifestyle, unless you learn these wellness habits, you cannot move the needle on your health. So if you're not going to get it from your doctor, well, there's certain parts of the world that have zero integrative medicine doctors. And I have found out that there are communities of people that actually go to the spa to see the doctor that's actually at the spa, because they can get blood work done, they can get their labs evaluated,
Isn't that
and
crazy?
actually have their own personalized, nutrition, wellness, supplement, medication, whatever,
Tailored
to them.
Yep.
And with a long-term goal, as opposed to the doctor that has 7 minutes to see you and is like, okay, what is it? Okay, I'm writing you a prescription for,
Oh my God.
Ozempic,
Oh my
And
God.
so it's a crazy situation.
It's a crazy
So we have to look at the fact that people are wanting something that's going to move the needle on their health, that's going to move the needle on their wellness, and it's going to give them that well-being that they want, so that their health span can actually equal their lifespan, as opposed to
health span equal lifespan.
So I can live till I'm 90, but if I'm in a wheelchair by the time I'm 50, that's not really quality of life.
I know.
So that's where I see that in these, we call food deserts, like certain areas that only have fast food, don't really have really good options for, healthy, even nutritional options. Well, there's also medical deserts, where you're just going in for like trauma or fast little things, and their doctors have zero help for these symptoms, and they don't know how to help them because they're not equipped properly. But someone that works at a spa that has wonderful backing, has wonderful array of services, knows the details of the statistics, the services, the offerings that actually can help someone become more well. That's where this is coming from.
Well, not everyone can afford a spa. There is a lot to be said for inspiration to get up and move. That's our Global Wellness Day and the
Exactly.
dance. But, I promised we'd have a special guest, and it's time to introduce, because there is a gaping need in one segment of this industry.
Yes.
Can you tell us what that is when it comes to parenting, please?
Yes. So all of these athletes start out as junior athletes of all sectors of sport, and with them come their parents, and come maybe their coaches, and maybe a strength and conditioning, person if they're that lucky. But basically it's a parent and maybe a coach. And maybe you're in a team sport, maybe you're in an individual sport, and these parents are going for hours on end. And their kids may play Monday, have an off day Tuesday, play again Wednesday, then play like a long day on Thursday, a short day on Friday. And they're like, I'm sitting in the corner of this little rural town where this tournament is going on, and they don't even have a gym in the hotel that's offered.
That sounds like
It's crazy.
hell to me.
Crazy. So I see all of these athletes. I see all of the juniors, the collegiate, and the pros. The pros are taken care of. They have a whole setup whenever they go, and it's gotten even better. They have really brought in cold plunges, sauna, all these wonderful offerings with wellness practitioners, healthcare practitioners. They are really supported, usually, not in all sport, definitely at the Olympics and wonderful places, but at the rising star level where you're not there yet, there's a whole sector of people. 180 million travel for collegiate, junior, and sport events. All of these people do not only comprise of the athletes. It's the parents, it's the coaches, it's the entourages, it's the friends, it's the family.
Well,
and they want wellness too.
Funny enough, we have one sitting here right with us. Let me
Awesome.
introduce to everyone Christine Mogadam. Did I say that right?
Perfectly said.
I'm so proud of her. I have known Christine. She's a wellness entrepreneur with a beautiful yoga gear company made of cork from Portugal. But so I'm telling you about our interview, and this is going to happen because we're here for a media event this week. And then I looked around and I said, wait a minute, who are you? Tell him why you know about this. What does your son do with his time, your oldest son?
So my oldest son, he's 18. He'll be 19 in a couple of months. He plays soccer or football in Europe.
Yes.
Yeah.
For who?
He plays for Leganes. Leganes
Spain.
In Spain. Yes.
Okay. And did he just arrive there? Did he go from grade school to Leganes, the junior league in Spain? Or how many trips, how many years has this taken to get him there?
So he started playing when he was 5, club soccer in the U.S. and California. And it's been 14 years of a lot of travel, a lot of investment. When he was 10, he told me that he wanted to pursue the pro pathway in Europe. So not easy because there is no clear pathway. And as a parent, you want, your child's dreams to come true, right? And I did everything I could. If you want to know the statistics,
yeah, I do.
How much we spent, we spent probably over, embarrassingly enough, $100,000
just to get him to
just
this
to
point.
get him on hotels, plane tickets, gas, and that doesn't include all of the wellness treatments I had done for him. You
What
name
kind?
it.
What kind?
I've done it all. Acupuncture, IV therapy, hyperbaric chamber, infrared sauna. We bought an infrared sauna in our home.
God.
Because none of
no
the hotels, and there's no time, and none of those hotels had it. He's done all the compressions, obviously.
Yeah.
He's done the red bed. You name it, he's done it. He's done all of the analysis on his body.
And he's 19.
He will be 19. Yeah.
And he has a lot of years ahead of him. But look what it took to get him there. And how much fun have you had in those hotel rooms traveling around the U.S.?
0.
What is there to do?
Nothing. Especially when you're in take for example Bakersfield in the middle of Central California. There is nothing. Or in the middle of Spain where there's only one hotel and then a huge football field. There's nothing. There's nothing to do.
So what would you tell hoteliers and developers for mixed-use properties? What do you think their opportunity is in this regard?
Oh, I think the opportunity is huge for parents to start with, like myself, like you explained, Kim, in doing just different body analysis, starting with that, educating,
Yep.
obviously looking at the individual, and then from there doing treatments, whatever treatments they can offer. I think for players, post-recovery, huge.
Yeah, I actually, there are times where I tell my athletes, go to the local drugstore / supermarket, try to find one, get 5 pounds of ice, put it into, and you hope that they have a tub inside of the hotel room.
Instead of just a shower.
Instead of just a shower, that they can then put cold water, put that, and then all of a sudden they get their cold plunge. So it's a very makeshift type of thing because you know what you should have and you don't have it. And so you have to, I'm the queen of makeshift because I need to keep these players playing well and continuing to win, so, and amplifying their performance while they're in tournament. But so much at a younger age is you need that support from your parent. If your parent is spent because all day they're spending just running around, barely doing anything, not being able to have their own stress outlets, maybe just working on their computer because they have nothing else to do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they went for a walk, and they're not even at that point where they could support their own child.
Yeah.
So what are we doing when we're looking at the future of sport, the future of human performance, of athletic performance? And that comes from supporting the parent and being able to offer these things. Not to mention, it's just a simple untapped market.
Oh my God.
These people are looking to spend their money. They're going to be there for 2 weeks.
Yes.
They're like, I'm not at work right now. I don't have to do the laundry.
Yeah.
I don't have to do this. I don't have to put a meal on the table. I got not even an efficiency kitchen in my room. I just got to go out every day. I have time. I can go and get a massage and finally de-stress from all of these crazy things that I've been with.
Completely.
He just lost his match yesterday. I have to pick him up off the floor, get him ready for the next match, right? And you're just sitting there going, if I had a massage to zen out, if I had some acupuncture treatment, or I strained something, helping.
Help. Also,
Right?
also
A
the,
luggage, 3 flights to get
Absolutely.
somewhere, whatever. It's
I
important.
will tell you on that masterclass, everyone should download it. Go to globalwellnesssummit.com, listen to that masterclass. But one of the people that asked a question about sound, what's the importance of
Oh,
sound?
absolutely.
Because they design hotel rooms that are
Yes.
supreme
Yes.
sleep sanctuaries.
So Cyro noticed that, and of course now we have wearables. So the players actually are getting stressed over being stressed because their wearable is telling them that. And then their wearable is saying, you got really bad sleep last night. So they know what it takes for them to actually perform
Yeah.
better and sleep better. So we're looking at, so Cyro is creating these rooms that are really pitch black no matter what time it is, because you're trying to acclimate to time zones often, and provide the serenity and the environment for really restful sleep. And sometimes talk about these tournaments in these, areas like plop in the middle of nowhere. They're often, you've got animals, you've got, and then you come to New York and you've got sirens, and you've got noise. And so there's a lot of problems sometimes if you don't have resorts like this.
Well, I just think, Christine, our trip here, I met you here, but I took a red eye because of just scheduling, and then I slept during the day. But your neck's out, your foot's out. And last night we went to Chinatown and I had a foot massage. Changed my life. Oh my God.
Yeah.
$30 or whatever.
Well, Dr. Sergio Pecorelli, one of my, colleagues in a lot of the work with, pregnancy and postpartum, he says, if a woman gets a massage, it is the equivalent, a good massage in the right way, it's the equivalent of 4 hours of sleep.
Oh, I so believe it.
I believe
Are
that
you kidding?
too. Yes.
It was so amazing.
It's very fascinating research.
So, Christine, it's so cool that you're here, and we're so glad to hear it from the front line. So Patricia and I are not just making it up. But we can't stop talking to Patricia without getting to this topic of her expertise. You had 2 kids. I'm in love with your little boy, Isaac. He's going to be a filmmaker. He's here with us. I had 1. But a problem that a lot of moms, and the Global Wellness Institute and Summit is very interested in this topic, is postpartum depression and getting back to your real self after birth.
Right.
I know it's not sports, but some people make having children a sport.
So what happened for me in my professional career was that I was treating professional dancers. I was backstage at Broadway, Rockettes, all of these places. And then I was working with pro athletes. And in 1999, for the first time, we saw dancers, professional dancers, actually coming back after they had a baby. Before, they used to just hang up their pointe shoes, hang up their dance shoes, and just teach. And that was the end of their career. I start my kids, that's it, I'm done. And now they're coming back. And so it was a really exciting time because I got to get them back. And sometimes to better them before levels, which they were like, I don't understand. I had that pesky injury my whole entire life. But your collagen reforms after pregnancy. You have this wonderful 18-month window of opportunity after you have a baby to reshape your body, to correct your posture, to get movement faults out of the way and really transform. So people don't look at postpartum as a wonderful experience. They look at it as, oh boy, but it is stressful. I blame the lack of support. Back in the day when we were tribal, we had all the women coming from the tribe to take care of every single one of the needs of the mom. She fed the baby, she changed the baby's diapers, put the baby to bed, bonded with the baby, focused on that quiet time. The nervous system is super sensitive when we first have a baby. Your grounding chakra is open, right? Literally, as you're having a baby. And so you're missing that tribal environment. Now, some people have the means to be able to hire a baby nurse and get support that way, have a chef that's going to give them the food,
Right.
There is a wonderful hotel that just opened in New York, Borum Care, where you can actually go and stay for 2 weeks after you have a baby to get all of the things that you need to recover. And I, because I work with Olympic athletes, professional tennis players and various other professional athletes, we actually are now, I'm on the first ever Women's Health Task Force for professional athletes, females, right? And one of the projects is to support and create guidelines for active women as well as professional athletes, because believe it or not, there are 0 guidelines in how to return to sport after you have a baby.
Oh my God.
0.
That's
It's crazy.
That is disgusting.
So,
crazy.
so because I work with this population, I had to work with these women that were having babies because they were coming back. So it was thrown on me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Dove deep in working with experts
how many kids
all
do
over
you
the.
have?
And I have 3 kids my
Oh
own.
my gosh.
And I've had all 3 births. So I had a vaginal birth without a stitch of medication, no epidural, nothing. 9 pounds. Yeah. My second is a cesarean, and then my third is a vaginal birth after cesarean.
Yay, that's very doable.
So I can speak to all of them firsthand, but I also worked with these experts that were trying to break the boundaries. Exercise when you're pregnant. That helps your postpartum experience. So many women just don't. Some just don't feel well, fine.
Yeah.
But you need that support. In France, women get 12 visits with a physical therapist after they have a baby.
Do you hear me?
To get the, covered by
God.
insurance.
Oh my
Covered
God.
by
We
insurance.
have to move to France.
We
That's it.
barely have like 2 weeks paid maternity leave, in this country.
Well, I didn't. If you have your own business, you don't even get that.
Exactly right. And so what we're looking at is a lack of support when we talk about postpartum depression. Also, I hate to mention this, but breastfeeding, every time you breastfeed, it gives you this huge oxytocin rush, which actually prevents depression. And it also helps as your hormones are naturally kind of going down off the cliff.
I know.
It helps you stay afloat. So women who don't breastfeed, now women who breastfeed also get postpartum depression, but you hear about this in the athletes because they get a lot of oxytocin and adrenaline rushes with all of their sports. So they're used to being on that rush all the time. So when they're pregnant, they're still on that rush. They feel like, yeah, and they keep training. They keep doing, again, to a lesser extent.
Sure.
I mean, but like Serena won the Australian Open after a positive pregnancy
Is
test.
it
She was
so-
a few weeks pregnant.
Oh, it's so cool.
It's one of those things that we have to break the bubble on, we need to lay down and rest, when
You're
we're
not
pregnant.
sick.
No, you're not sick.
It's a normal human thing.
But I'm Spartan. I am Spartan, right? So my family is all from Greece, from Sparta. I'm 100% Spartan.
Woohoo!
The Spartan women.
We're
back
having a
in the
podcast
day-
with Wonder Woman.
There you go. Well, I hope, right? But it's in my blood for sure. But the Spartans back in the day would train just like their male Spartan counterparts when they were pregnant, because the thought was that they would actually birth stronger babies. Now we know with the statistics of today that actually that's true.
Is that true?
They're smarter and they're stronger and they're healthier.
Well,
Period. So if you exercise during your pregnancy, and that's why I did this book really, because there was no guidelines out there and I was just trying to help, but it's about 30% of what I do. I'm really about sports performance and all of that. However, this is one of the things for female athletes that we deal with, that we want to get them back. And when you're dealing with postpartum depression, you have to go back and turn back the clock to what did I do when I was pregnant? Am I moving enough in my postpartum experience? Not running on the treadmill that's spiking my cortisol before my parts are back together, And sometimes we're all or nothing. So, I'm feeling depressed. I got to move. So then all of a sudden they're just like running miles after just being home and...
You mean giving birth to another human being? They start
Exactly.
running miles.
Which is their own marathon in itself.
Yes.
And you need weeks to get over that, not a few. And what happens is a lot of times doctors give no guidelines. So they're like, just, relax, don't do much. And I'm all for stay home for 40 days. Believe it or not, yes, that is true. It's ancient wisdom across every culture in the world. I've researched it.
I didn't do it,
where
but
the
I love
whole tribe is catering to you. 40 Days a Queen is a hashtag that we started. It went viral. I have 21.3 million views on one of my reels.
My husband
because
follows me.
this really, really, really resonated across the globe. And it's about really taking care of yourself, taking a step back after you ran that marathon, which was giving birth, and no matter what type of birth you had, and then letting your body heal appropriately. Do not lift that cortisol spike, because then you're not only keeping the pounds on your body and the extra weight, but you're also not feeling good. Your mental health will suffer. It'll be that much more of a struggle. It's like climbing Mount Everest instead of just going up a hill.
Listen, I was always prideful. I worked in spas, so I tried not to be chubby. I tried not to be overweight.
Yeah.
And then I had a child, and I was like, oh no,
Right.
have I lost it?
Yeah.
I was so in fear that I would be a chubby person from then on.
100%.
If someone could have just told me, just breastfeed and walk, you big dummy.
Yeah.
A year and a half later, I was thinner than I had ever been.
Correct.
But that anxiety wasn't necessary. I just
Correct.
needed to keep moving. Christine, you weigh about, I don't know, 27 pounds? No. Did you gain a lot when you were pregnant at all?
Just about the minimum.
She's
I had
perfect.
morning sickness my entire pregnancy.
Really
both
bad.
of them.
Yeah.
Both C-sections, yes.
Yeah. So then to get
was
back up
hard.
on the horse
Yeah.
and to really get to 100%, that's athletic training. I mean,
Oh,
to
yeah.
get that hope in your...
But the point is to do a little bit every day, right? And I designed the postpartum exercise program for women. It was the first study with Weill Cornell and HSS, and creating and basically from 2 weeks to 12 weeks what you should do. And we saw in the pilot study that women that actually did these small movements a little bit every day, and then it ramped up. Of course, we ramped it up. They had better scores for general well-being, for mental health, for overall pain, just doing better. And so we know that if you don't put too much on your plate, if you have enough support, and if you just start with breathing. You know, the first segment of 2 weeks is just breathe and feel a little bit of muscle activation. Do a little bit of movement in bed. You might have had a C-section, you can't move. It's just like, you've got gas, you've got pressure, you've got scars. It hurts to cough, it hurts to sneeze.
It hurts to nurse.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
I'm just saying right now that this is such a hen party because not only are we in this beautiful Symphony Studios, the founder of Immunicology had 4 children. We have for the first time, a female engineer
Yeah.
camera person.
Woo-hoo.
We love it. So, ladies, this has just been such a joy to hear from a professional, a Spartan that knows how to get an athlete back, and then a mama who is dedicated so much with her husband to her son's sports career.
Yeah.
And you care about wellness, right, Christine?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why you're in the business.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you guys. We want to put out, Simone Biles is a keynote at
Yes.
this year's Global Wellness Summit, and mental health is a lot of what we're saying, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah. So we just want to tell everybody, download the masterclass, Sports and Hospitality, look at the trend, wellness and sports. There's so much more to talk about. We wanted to whet your appetite. I'm sorry I'm like Tim Ferriss, the podcast guy. I had so many questions for you guys. But thanks for being with us tonight. It's just been a joy, and I'm inspired. I'm going back on that pickleball court next
There you
week,
go.
okay?
There you go. Yes.